My friend, what if the keys to a life filled with wealth and genuine happiness weren't about chasing success at all, but about attracting it? Today, we're going to dive deep into the timeless wisdom of Rim John's speech to unlock that very secret. My friend, listen to this very carefully. This single idea, this is the foundation for everything. It's not saying you should neglect your job, not at all. It's about a complete shift in where you put your energy. See, the real assets you have are your value, your skills, your character. That's what you need to be working on. You know, life has a funny way of balancing the books. Your income, well, it rarely gets much higher than your own personal development. Success isn't something you run after. No, it's something you attract by the person you become. So the focus has to be on growth, right? On becoming more so that you can naturally attract more into your life.
All right, so let's really break this down. Let's get into the foundational secret. This is the core principle that, I promise you, once you truly get it, it can change everything. Here's the most important part. Instead of going after success, you work on yourself. You build up your skills, you sharpen your mindset, you forge your discipline. You basically become a magnet for success, and it flows to you. It's a total shift, my friend. It's the difference between hunting for a butterfly and building a beautiful garden that butterflies just can't resist. Okay, so understanding the principle is one thing, but now we've got to get practical. So let's move on to the first real step. How do we actually start this process of working on ourselves? My friend, so many of us fall into this trap. We think, if only I had more money. But that's not the real problem. The major problem is a lack of an idea. It isn't a lack of money, it's a lack of ideas. Think about that. With one powerful idea, you can create all the resources you'll ever need.
So, the big question is, where do we find these life-changing ideas? Well, the path is actually simpler than you'd think. It really comes down to just 3 things. You gotta read, you gotta listen, and you gotta observe.
First up, read. And don't just be a follower, be a student. I mean, just think about this for a second. Hundreds of the most successful people who ever lived have written down exactly how they did it. It's a roadmap. It's all there in books. And yet so many people just won't pick them up.
And look, you don't have to become a hermit and read all night. Just start with this. Can you find 30 minutes a day? 30 minutes, that's it. 30 minutes dedicated to learning something positive, something that instructs you, something that challenges you. That small habit, my friend, is the doorway from an ordinary life to an extraordinary one.
All right, number 2 is to listen. You have to get around people who are doing well and just listen to what they talk about. Ideas flow from being in the right rooms, from the right conversations. You have to put yourself in those environments where success is just in the air. You can learn so much, not just from their wins, but from their mistakes too.
And this right here, this shows the huge difference in thinking. You've got the poor mindset that says, he's rich, why should I buy him dinner? But the wealth mindset, it says, wow, for $80, I can get ideas that could completely change my life. My friend, the person struggling ought to be the first one to offer to buy the rich person dinner. Because that conversation, that's not an expense. It's an investment in wisdom that could pay you back 1,000 times over.
And the third way, observe. You have to learn to just watch. People who are successful, they do certain things again and again and again. They have habits, they have disciplines. You can pick it all up just by paying attention. Because, my friend, success leaves clues. But this isn't just about looking around. There are 2 ways to see. There's sight. That's seeing with your eyes. You see things. But then there's insight. That's seeing with your mind. And that's where you find the answers. So you have to learn to really pay attention. Wherever you are, be there 100%. Okay, so finding out is crucial. You have to get the ideas. But that's not enough, not even close. The second step, this is where the real change starts to happen. It's time to go to work. Now, this is so important. He said, don't let your learning lead to knowledge. You'll become a fool.
Let your learning lead to action. You can become wealthy. You see the difference? Knowledge by itself is useless. It just sits there. You can have all the ideas in the world, but if you don't do anything with them, they're worthless. Learning has to lead to action.
So how do we do it? It all comes down to discipline. And the secret is to start with the little things. You can't lift the heavy weights in life if you haven't been training with the small ones. Every little discipline you master is like building a muscle. It gets you ready for the big challenges. You should get excited about your ability to simply make yourself do the things you know you need to do. Now, as you start gathering ideas and putting them into action, there is a very important word of caution you need to hear. Here it is. Don't try to beat the system. Don't cut corners. And don't compromise on what's right. You see, some people, they learn just enough to be dangerous. They start looking for shortcuts, for a cheap way out. But a cheap answer always leads to a cheap life. Do it right, even if it takes a little longer. And that brings us here, to the most important part of this whole journey, the part that has nothing to do with me and everything to do with you, the choice. My friend, really think about this. The next 5 years of your life are going to be a lot like the last 5, unless you make a change. Take a good hard look at your last 5 years. If you don't consciously decide to change things, your future's already mapped out. It's just going to be more of the same unless you choose to change it all.
So, my friend, that's the real question, isn't it? What will you do starting tomorrow? The power to change your entire life, it's right there. It's available to you any day you decide to grab it. But it starts with a choice. What new thing are you going to do? What idea will you finally put into action tomorrow?
If this has sparked something in you, my friend, then take that first small action right now. Like this message, share it with someone you know who needs to hear this, and subscribe to The Wise Cut so we can continue on this journey together. And in the comments below, I want you to tell me, what is the one thing you will do differently starting tomorrow?